Hello, gorgeous woman. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. For those of you watching, I'm with the gorgeous Lizzie O'Callaghan from New Zealand. And listen, I've got to tell you, it's only been a couple of weeks since I've actually seen you in Soul to Soul, but I miss you.
Do you know what? I really miss Soul to Soul as well. I was worried how I was going to go when Soul to Soul finished, but as I was just saying to you earlier, it's just been amazing. And yes, I do really miss it, but I am so ready for the next step. It's exciting.
Yeah, that's really bloody good feedback, actually, because there's always that concern of, being deeply held over the 8 weeks and then what's going to happen when it finishes. And knowing that, yeah, you do go into, another graduate program that's free and it's ongoing, you're still getting to hang with your soul sisters, still getting to use the tools and continue the momentum. So it's not just like we throw you off after 8 weeks, right? So, because you got so close to the women, like you all were such a close group.
I was so surprised. I was so surprised what such close connections I built with all the women on Soul to Soul, and they're all over the world. I didn't meet any of them in person, and do you know what? They'll always be really close to me. They're part of my journey. And I remember when it was ending, and we're like, what's going to happen? No, we can't, no. And we were trying to hang on every way we could. But do you know what? It's how it's meant to be. It's great. It really is.
Good. You survived. I know there was a lot of back and forth in the group. They're like, oh my God, we're on the last week. But that's good. It just shows how much was actually activating in you. So look, dare I say it, can we go back to kind of 9-10 weeks ago, Lizzie? She's like, no.
No. It's so funny because I'm sitting on the same couch that I sat on when we did our breakthrough call. And it's kind of a similar day here. And I remember how I felt on that breakthrough call. It was probably one of my lowest days. Mm-hmm. And
talk to us a bit about the lowest day. What was really going on for you when you were on that call? You booked the call. Why was it your lowest day?
Well, it's different. I think it's my lowest day, and it's for a different reason than what I thought it was for back then. Okay. Because back then I didn't know it was my lowest day. Right. I was in such denial and I was so numb. So I think the worst thing was I didn't know it was my lowest day, but I know that I really wasn't happy. You were asking the most challenging questions. I had no idea how to respond to them. I had no idea how to answer them. And I just thought you were just asking tricky questions to trick me. And I was like, there is no answer to those questions. I don't know. I don't even know how to answer them. Dreams don't exist. What I want doesn't exist. I don't even know how to articulate what I want. Who does though? No one knows how to answer those questions. But as I went through the program, I started to realize that I had just completely shut down. So that lowest day for me was just deep in my core. I know I had given up, and I was thinking it doesn't get any better than this. So I've just going to have to make the most of what I've got here. But it didn't sit right with me, which is, I guess, why I did book that breakthrough call with you. I must have known there was something more. But
you had a goal, you were on the call with me for a reason, because love was not something that was working for you, right? You were quite isolated on that conversation. You're just let's talk about something else. Well, look, that's why we're on the call. And it was sort of, you were just keeping it all top line. And then, look, some of you will have already seen the video where Lizzie and I have already chatted before, how she thought that I was a scam and a fraud. So just do a quick overview of what was really going through your mind on that call.
Yeah, so after you asked me all those really uncomfortable questions, I actually had to go, and we hadn't got to the part where you were going to tell me about Soul to Soul. And you said, I'll call you back in an hour. Well, in that hour, I'd convinced myself that you're an absolute fraud, and that's why you were calling me back, to scam me. And thank you, but not for me. Yeah. And when we came back an hour later, you said, what's been coming up? I'm like, yeah, no, I've just decided it's not for me. No. And then you just keep asking those questions. that were really hitting me. You know, like I knew everything that you were saying was true, but I just didn't want to wake up to it. But so I had that choice then. Was I just going to face the fear, because that's what it was? And see, I feel like I'm articulating that really well now, but at the time I didn't know it was fear. But I just knew I had to say yes, even though I thought you were an absolute fraud. Like, I just thought you were going to take my money and you're going to do this course, and at the end of it I'd be like, see, I told you Liz, that you should trust your gut instinct and that you're the fraud. But no, that wasn't what happened.
So then talk to us. Okay, so I get that you thought I was a fraud, and this is so relevant, because listen, you saw a Facebook ad, you watched a masterclass, you get on a phone call, and that's all that you know of me, right? And then it comes into actually going, well, I want to do this work, and yes, there's an investment attached. And of course, in your mind, you were seeing it through the lens of, this woman is out to get me, which also, if you really get honest, that's how you felt in relationships, is that men were just going to take you for a ride. Like they weren't there to stay. They weren't there to really show up for you. That's exactly what was happening. And I could see that. And I totally understood where you were coming from. You know, you're not the first, you probably won't be the last of someone to think that about me. But at the end of the day, you were in a place where you knew that something needed to change, and you ended up going for it. So before we move on to the good stuff, what else were you feeling in that time of your life, like about relationships, about yourself? How did you really feel?
Well, I couldn't articulate this back at the time, back 8 weeks ago. So, but I couldn't be myself. I was like, if I do more, if I put more effort into my looks, or if I cook more meals, or if I'm just there, if I'm just more happy, if I'm just that really bubbly person, then that's what I need to do in relationships. But you know, you can't sustain that, and two, that's just not really showing who I am. So of course relationships never really worked out for me. I always thought that I always had to do more for men to like me, and I just wasn't comfortable in my own skin. And then, you know, I just remember thinking, I'm just not meant to be in a relationship.
Yeah. That's
it. Like other people, but I guess not for me, and I'm okay with it. But no, I'm not.
You're not, and I just feel the magnitude of what you just said, because this is so many women right now that'll be watching you, that will be nodding their heads. And I remember also thinking that too. I was like, I'm not soulmate material. I'm a really big energy. I've got really big dreams, but like, I don't know that there's a guy that'll be able to handle that, which is just complete bullshit. It's such bullshit.
Like I'm building a business at the moment. I'm like, well, I guess I'm supposed to get my joy from that. And I put a lot of energy into that, and I consider myself like really high energy as well. And I was like, well, I'll just have to get my joy and that from somewhere else, because I'm just not meant to be in a relationship. And I remember just avoiding the topics of relationships with people, because I never wanted to say, oh, look, I'm fine if I don't meet anyone, because I knew deep down I wasn't. But that's what I felt I had to say. I never felt comfortable.
Right? To kind of get them off your back. It's just like, let's not.
Yes. Yeah, like I have this great life, like, you know, and I do. Like I have a lot going for it. But to just put the relationship to the side and pretend like I didn't want it, that is crap, and that doesn't feel good. But I didn't realize how bad it felt at the time, because I put it so deep and so down and suppressed, just so I couldn't feel the hurt of it, so I couldn't feel the sadness of it.
And to the point where, if I remember correctly, when we first had our call, I think I asked if you wanted children. That wasn't even something that was on your list. I mean, you already sold out on having a relationship, let alone kids, right?
I would always, no, don't want kids, no. And I was like, well, I'm getting older. In my head, I'm like, getting older, I'm not going to meet anyone. Let's just say you're fine not having children. And then you can't be disappointed when it doesn't happen.
That's right. And then you won't be disappointed. And just share with us how old you are.
I'm 38. I've just turned 38. And and I do want children, and I am going to have children.
Yeah.
And do you know what? Like, more and more, I just so comfortable claiming that to people.
So let's go there. So let's stop. Let's go there. So, okay, so pre-soul to soul, didn't even acknowledge the children. That was like way out there. Even with relationships, it was like, yeah, I'll just be happy with my business. And you had basically just isolated yourself from that concept. It's just like, yeah, love and relationships don't work for me. Okay. Then you said yes, even though you thought I was a scam and a fraud. What happened then? Talk to us about your experience.
Well, okay, so I was like, if I'm going to prove that you're a fraud, I have to do everything that is prescribed in the program, and I will, just so I can say you were a fraud, because I was out to show that you're a fraud at the 8 weeks. That's a stupid goal to have, isn't it? Yeah. So in the first week, on the first call, I was still held back, and I was like, really? Then day 3 hit of the course, and I started feeling stuff then, and it was the first time I'd felt, and yes, they weren't the most pleasurable feelings, they were quite, but at least I was feeling again. It's the first time that I had felt, and I'm like, wow, it's the first time I'd been honest with myself about some things. And
that was day 3.
Day 3 of the course.
Wow.
So while that probably doesn't sound too glamorous, it was amazing to actually start being honest with myself.
It's actually profound, right? This is the thing, is that, that's where I used to be, is I was emotionally shut down. I wasn't feeling either. I was numb, just like you were describing. And there's just so many beautiful, talented women out there, right, that we fall into that. And that's trying to do life through the masculine and being independent and being on top of everything. And it's like, it does not work in the land of relationships. So when you say, may not sound that glamorous, I get all excited over here going, what? You just said you've opened Pandora's box and you're feeling again? That is the beginning. Hello?
I know, and it felt great. I remember feeling quite upset actually, but it felt great. Like, I was like, holy shit, I'm actually feeling again. So that was exciting, and it just started to unfold from there. And then, so do you know what? Day 3 of the program, I was like, okay, you got my attention. Yeah.
Beautiful. And then you made a very solid, fast trajectory over the 8 weeks. I will say that loudly and proudly. Sorry, guys, I have a bit of a cold. You and I both know that, right? It was just only up from there. Of course, there were like moments, because Soul to Soul is not a walk in the park, right? It's not just some nice little course where we just manifest and say nice things. Like, I'm just saying that because that's what a lot of that's out there. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it doesn't get you results, right? This is about going to the nucleus. And that's what you did. You just rolled up your sleeves and you just went for it, Lizzie. I just want to acknowledge you for that. You just totally went for it and committed. Meanwhile, I didn't know all the scams, fraud stuff was going on until the end of the program. That's what she thought. But like, you just went for it. So just talk to us about, the women that are watching, like what was it like for you, the experience?
I've got goosebumps as you're talking, because I have to say the first 3 weeks of the course was the most messy part of it. And I was so afraid to show myself. Like, I started to show myself how I was actually feeling, but then to have to come on and share that with my soul sisters as well, I was like, oh, can I do this? And I saw the other women come on and share themselves, and they were so inspiring that I had no choice. I just felt I had no choice to come on. And there was something very powerful about coming on and sharing the stuff that I shared with the women in my group.
Well, that because you were being seen and heard and supported every day. That's what it was. I can tell you that. It was that you were suddenly, for the first time, relating and connecting with other women. Because here's the thing, right? The women that do Soul to Soul, it's not like their whole life is a shit show, right? You had this business. Other women come to me. They're professional women, and a lot of them are killing it in their careers. Some are looking for a change as well. But, Lizzie, you're in the category of like being an entrepreneur. You've got a great business, and now you're taking that to the next level. But when you came in, it was about this part of your life specifically that was a shit show. It was a mess. And being with other women that were in that same place, I think that's what you're saying to us right now, is you're suddenly like, oh, they're supporting me and I'm supporting them, right? And that's what's starting to get the traction.
I played safe for all of 5 minutes in that program. I remember the first week, and I was playing it safe. And then after that, I'm like, you know what? No. Like, the other woman came on and really shared themselves, and I'm like, I want to be like that. And I can be like that. It's starting to come up. They would say things. I'm like, me too. Me too. And I just like, ditto. Yes. Like, that's me.
I feel like there was a turning point for you at the halfway mark where you just suddenly went to a whole nother level. Would you say, was that accurate? It was around that moment where I felt like you just got your wings and you just like took off.
I think like halfway through the course, I realized that I have me, I'm proud of me, I've got this. And when I had that shift, and I remember it very clearly as well.
Yeah, I remember it so well.
I was like, I can do anything. I've seen all these inspirational quotes on Instagram and all that, and I love them. And I'm addicted to watching clips on YouTube and all of that. Now I watch them and they mean such different things. And I think because it's such an experiential program, you can't help but experience things. So when you experience it, that was the validation I needed. Okay, yeah. And then very quickly, I noticed so many things start to unfold. My relationships change. I had job offers coming in to the point where I couldn't choose what ones because they were all so amazing. I started having relationships with people like I did with the woman in the course. Like, I was like, it really upped my standard of relationships. When I started opening up from the heart, I just noticed relationships started changing, even for the business. Like, I didn't have to be this independent, strong, powerful woman running a business. Like, and when that
wasn't working for you.
I just like, this is me, and this is what I've got to offer. And when I in the core of me believed that, and that was the shift halfway through the course, so many things started changing. So many things. And I just remember.
Yeah, you go.
I just remember like always celebrating. Like, we're always encouraged to come on and celebrate. I'm like, oh my God, I have another celebration. Oh my God, now this has happened. There are just so many of them.
It was literally like riding the Lizzie wave. Like, it was a tsunami where I was like, oh my God. Like, I was almost like, it's so funny where you said you're having all these job offers. I'm like, shit, like, so awesome. I'm like, what's she going to have today? Like, I have to be ready, because it was just wasn't just one day. It was just constant. And you'd found these new sea legs, if you will, where it's like, oh, this is actually a new way of being for me. This is not just like a one-off. This is when you said prior to us having a chat, oh, I know about the law of attraction. But the truth is that you weren't activating the law of attraction before. And then
and I think a big part of Soul to Soul is I knew it from an intellectual level. But because this is such an experiential course, it's not just watching an online module and then be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do that. You have to live and breathe this stuff every day.
Yes. Thank you for saying that, because I always say it's about the activation, the integration, but I love the way that you just said it's about living and breathing it. It's true. We don't, and that's the thing for those of you listening that this will be striking a chord with. Maybe you've done a lot of work. Trust me, I get a lot of people that have come to me who've done Tony Robbins, landmark, cranial therapy, talk therapy, hypnosis, everything under the sun. And that's all great. But at the end of the day, all that matters is, are you seeing the results that you want? Are you in that relationship? Is your business soaring? Are your finances soaring? And is your health soaring? And do you feel happy? And if you don't, quite frankly, I got to say that whatever you're doing isn't working. And that's confronting. But guess what? I had that same issue too. I was consuming a lot of information. But you don't need more information, because that's just adding to the headiness of it all. It's about the integration. And like Lizzie just so articulately said, it was living and breathing this work internally, where her cells were actually shifting, right, Lizzie? It was like, it was shifting at your core. It wasn't just like words. It was actually a knowing that you started to create with yourself. That's when you started to soar.
I think it's because every day something's coming up. You're either another woman in your group sharing something and you're like, yeah, get it. Or you're sharing something and we're applying the tools, and I use every one of the tools that we learned on that course.
Yes, you do.
And I remember a couple of years ago getting the Louise Hay book, You Can Heal Your Life, and it was about loving yourself. And I remember thinking, oh my God, love yourself. Yeah, whatever. It's more about, I'm just going to go out and do the action and then I'll love myself. No. Now I get it.
Now you get it. I love it. Listen, it's already very clear. It's palpable. It's on your face right now, just how much you've shifted. What I'd love to ask you is, was there any, well, we already knew that you thought I was a scam and a fraud. Was there any other resistance that had you nearly not do the program? Was there anything else that came
There was so much resistance. All the resistance you can have, I think I had it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised myself that I signed up for the course because of how much resistance I had. There was the money.
Yeah.
And then when you told me that it was in US dollars and I had to do the conversion, I'm like, great, now it's even more expensive. Awesome. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Then there was that you're a fraud and it wasn't going to work anyway.
Yeah.
Then it was like, I know what you're saying is true, but I don't think I can do it. I remember saying, yeah. I know what you're saying. I don't think I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I should come back to you next year.
Yes. I'm so glad you said that, because that is so common. It's like, when people say, I say, look, it's a proven process. Oh yeah, but how do you know that I can do it? I'm like, well, unless you're like not going to actually do the work, it's a proven process. And it's interesting because this is seriously, Lizzie, like every other call where it's like, yep, I get all this, I hear it all, but I just don't think it's going to work for me. And that's the fear talking. That's all that it is, because your heart knew.
And I know what fear feels like now. I didn't back then. I do now. And I embrace that feeling now. I'm like, oh yeah, I know what you feel like. Yeah, okay. And it doesn't scare me.
Right. I think you must, obviously you'd know what fear was before. I think what you were saying is, just to go a bit deeper, was now how to deal with fear. Before you knew what fear was like, we all know what fear is. But now it's like you've got the tools to actually know to not let it stop you from moving.
Sure. Like, seriously, I don't think if you said it's just fear, I'm like, no, you're just a fraud. Like, no, it's not fear. No, you're just a fraud. Like, that's really, like, that was so strong in my head. And when I signed up, and and then I emailed you asking for a refund. And then 2 hours later, I'm like, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry, I've got it sorted now. It was the most excruciating time, because I think it was a 2-week wait before the course started.
Whereas now,
and I didn't sleep.
By the way, now it just is rolling course. So when you literally say, yep, I'm going to do it, you start right away. But you were the last of like the group that starts together and finishes together. And they both are amazing. But it's like now you would have gone straight in, so you wouldn't have had that lag. But still, I'm glad that you brought it up, because you had to sit in that, which isn't comfortable. But that was such a big learning for you to actually have to sit in that and go, oh gosh, because you had to actually look at your life, right? You put some skin in the game, you put some investment in the game, and it's just like, oh, well, maybe I do need to do something about it. I did, because you did book the call, right? This is the thing. I say to people, look, you booked the call with me. I didn't come chasing after you. You booked the call. So is it because everything's so great, or is it because there's actually something going on and you're sick of it? And you were sick of it.
Well, you said one question to me, asked me one question and said, would you be happy if this time next year you wake up and you're in the same place? I'm like, no. And you're probably the first person that I was honest to about that, because everyone else, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm fine. And I hate that word now. I hate fine. What's fine? Fine is not fine. So, yes, I had some hard truths. And I just am so amazed at where I am now. It seems like such a long time ago, before Soul to Soul, but it was only, 9 weeks ago?
Well,
not that long ago.
And that's just testament to you grabbing the work and absolutely milking it for everything it was worth. You know, you didn't just get these transformations because I did it to you. As you know, it's 50-50. I've got the process. I hold the biggest freaking epic space that you could have held for you. I know I bring it, but the other 50 is on you showing up, you really sharing yourself and really committing. And you just knocked it out of the park, Lizzie. And so no wonder it feels like a long time ago for you, because you are in a completely different place right now. Your business is in a different place right now. The way that you feel about your future, like, can you just quickly share with us about like how you feel now about love and relationships? And
wow. Well, do you know what? I have slowly started opening up to people about what I want in relationships. And it was started off very slowly, but now it's not slowly at all. Like, I'm quite happy to talk to anyone about it. And I connect with people on it. So I used to think, oh, if I share about this, they'll either think I'm a loser because I want it, but I don't have it. Or like, they just won't understand. But the way I talk about it, I think just really connects with people, and they understand what I say. And I say, yes, I want a loving, committed relationship, someone that has passion for life, as do I, and we share that passion together. And it's beautiful, and we're intimate and we're vulnerable, and we help each other to be the best versions of ourselves. And, you know, and there's so much. No way could I describe that 8 weeks ago.
yeah.
And I get excited when I think about it. And I've had so many experiences come in where relationships have changed just with my family and my friends, that I know it's coming because it's already started happening with other relationships that are in my life. So when you start seeing that unfold, that gets exciting. You're like, okay.
That's the preview of what's to come, right? And that's what you're saying, which is so rich. It's like, Luce, I'm already seeing that the guy coming in is just like the cherry on the cake. It really is, because you're already so happy right now. You're not waiting for him to come in and to be happy. That's the big issue that's happening out there. People say, oh, there's just this one piece of my life that's not working and then I'll be happy. And I go, you've got it the wrong way round, right? We have to be thriving on the inside and happy in ourselves, in our life, then we'll attract that in. And so don't you already have a bridesmaid?
Yes, I do. In fact, I have two bridesmaids, and they're so excited. They're so excited for me. And I'm like looking at wedding rings and engagement rings, and just it brings such happiness to me. Whereas before, I'd walk past the windows and almost like kind of try not to look at them because it would just bring up feelings in me like, oh, I'm never going to have that. Now I get excited at looking at them. You know, I share to my friends, and my friends are amazing. So I didn't even tell them I was doing this course, and I just sent them the message saying, will you be my bridesmaid? And they're like, hell yes, I will. Like, no questions. Like, so it's like, you know, those are the kind of friends I have, and they're excited for me.
Let me just also say what's actually going on there. Because of the work that you did internally, when you asked them, it came from certainty. It wasn't coming from lack and fear and not enoughness. Because if it did, I can guarantee you they'd be like, what are you talking about? You don't have a guy. And you and the other girls in the program and other ones that have gone before you have had the same experience, where when they're in their certainty, which is what I teach, right, then other people respond to that. That's what had you do the program. Even though you're like, I'm a scam, there was my certainty that you're like, okay, I know that this is going to work for me, even though you fought it. And that's exactly what it is. It's not something we can fake, right? So when you ask them outright, like, hey, will you be my bridesmaid? Because you were just like, yep, this is what's happening. Of course they didn't ask you anything. And I'm sure they're really good friends, but I'm telling you, this is about you and what you're putting out there. So let's not gloss over that. This was that beautiful conviction and certainty that is so profound, Lizzie. This is why your business has now gone to another level, right? Let's talk about that just quickly.
Well, I mean, talking about with conviction, I was visiting my marketing company, and I said to them, I'm going to be in supermarkets March next year. And they're like, that's fantastic. And then like a couple of minutes later, they said, is that a goal of yours? Or are you actually in supermarkets? And I'm like, yes. They don't know the difference. Like, I know I'm in supermarkets because I've started the process and it's a sure thing. Like, I've done that process and I've just got to go through the process. But before, I absolutely know I would have said something like, yeah, I'm going to try get into supermarkets. I'm not sure though, but I'm going to give it a go.
Well, you would have allowed them to override and you know allowed their questioning to have you fall back, but you're just like, no, I'm going to be in supermarkets. By the way, Lizzie's got the most epic high-end muesli, right? So that's what she's doing. I don't think we mentioned that. She's got this beautiful, beautiful high-quality muesli, which is coming my way. I've ordered mine, so I'm super excited for you to launch in the US. But yeah, like it's just your whole attitude, Lizzie, that I just want to reflect back to you, that of course now you're getting these amazing offers coming out of, like, you were like, before the call, we are just checking in and you were like, Lucy, I've just got all these things coming at me. I'm like, oh, that's really tough. That's a really tough thing to have.
To the point, at the moment, it's almost like daily. Like some are bigger than others, but every day I'm like, holy shit, there's another opportunity. Wow. And to the point this morning, I was starting to get a little anxious because I didn't know which ones to choose. And I just had to bring myself back to my heart again and be like, this is amazing that you have these choices.
Yeah.
And having that awareness, because then I was starting to make it about them. My energy was on the people offering me the job, and I was worried if I was going to annoy them. And then I just had to bring it back to myself and be like, what do I want? What do I need? And
that's no different to men, right? Same thing, trying to please the guy. So just in terms of now, really coming back to women that are watching this, they might be on the fence. What would you say to women that are like wondering, like they're in the same place, that like, you know, it's not working for me. They might have all these concerns or like roadblocks in the way because they might have done other work or whatever. What would you say to those women right now?
Well, I know from my experience, as I said, all the resistance that you can probably have, I had. But things that you were saying, everything that you were saying, I knew was true. Everything resonated. At the time, I wasn't quite ready to face up fully to what it was, but I knew you were speaking truth. And it's resonated so hard with me. And, you know, money and that you're a scam and it wasn't going to work. All of that came up for me, all of it. And I don't know what I did, but I got my credit card out and I gave you the number and I said, I'm going to do it. And it was the best decision I ever made. I've sent you, you know, a message. I say this to everyone that knows me. They all know your name, that you changed my life. This program changed my life. And to think that I nearly didn't do it, although I was always going to do it. I was just putting up, you know, all these blocks. But to think that potentially I might not have done it scares me. It's you know, my life has changed in so many ways in all areas: career, love, other relationships, everything. So you've just got to do it. If it's resonating, I say you've got to do it, because you won't care about the money this time next year.
That's the thing. It's like there's plenty more money. You will make it again. The amount of women that, like, even too, when we were like, you were going through it, we're like, oh my God, I got this random bonus, or I got this random inheritance. It's like random. No, the universe is rewarding you for getting out of your comfort zone and choosing your dream. That's what I say. It's like, you're not investing in me. You're investing in your dream and getting supported, because we all deserve support. So Lizzie, oh my God, sweetie, your phone's ringing. I just want to take this moment. Honestly, I've said it like once and I want to say it again. There is no stopping you on where to from here, right? The sky is the limit, and you know that. I know that this is not just work. Like, you know that now. I can't wait to see where you're going to be by this time next year, or even in 6 months, right? Because to see where you went in 8 weeks is nothing short of inspiring. And I feel lucky that I got to actually hold that space for you to just soar. Like, I feel privileged and honored to have seen you just go from here to here, right? So you in your own right are a bright light, and you are the muesli queen. And there are going to be, you know, I see wedding bells, I see babies, and I also see you doing other things with your life as well. You know, speaking gigs and all sorts of inspiring, you know, inspired events where you go and light up other people too. So I'm one of your biggest fans, and listen, if anyone wanted to reach out to you, yes, for the muesli, and also just to ask you a few questions, would you be cool with that?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Because
yeah.
I think any resistance that's coming up for anyone, I think I had it. Like I know I watched Neha's a version of this, and she was like, no, I didn't really have any fear. I'm like, wow, how do you not have fear? Like, because I had it all. I had it all. And it just goes to show that everyone's in a different place.
It does. And I love that, you know, that was funny. I was just like, hey, yeah, you had nothing? She goes, no. I remember the call with her. It was literally just like, hi, yeah, I want to do this. We went through the process and she goes, boom. And that was, you know, it's awesome when that happens. But I also get really excited for people like you, where there is a lot at stake and it is massively waking you up in that moment where it's like, holy shit, I want to hide behind something. And I get excited about that because that's where we get to create magic from. So, you know, it's like no shame around that, right? We're all got our stuff up to here. But yes, Neha was one of those where she's just like, no, I'm good. I want to do this. So listen, we're all different. That's the beauty of it. And sometimes people come in kicking and screaming. However, the only reason they've been invited in is because I can see that they've got the traits, right? You've got to be committed. You've got to want it. You've got to be coachable. I will not carry anyone, and I'm just happy I get to say this right now. I'm not ready. I will not take on anyone. If you want your victimhood more or your fear more than your dream, soul to soul ain't for you, my darling. Soul to soul is for you if you are done with having mediocre relationships, playing small, holding back, having no self-expression, and dimming your light. If that's what you're done with and you're ready to fucking soar, this is the right program for you. And honestly, it's never about the money at the end of the day because we can always get that, but we do not get time back. And that is something that, you know, I want to shout from the rooftops because I want this going into schools. You know, I want it to be where one day at the age of 30 plus, we don't even need to do this work. I've been through this work myself at 30, but I'm like, my dream is that, you know, 8-year-olds are getting this work so that they, by the time they get to 30 and 40, they're just like thriving. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so much bigger. I get obviously very lit up talking about this, but that's really the truth of it, is that we're not taught this in schools. We're not taught this at university. So there's no shame around the fact that you've gotten to this place in your life where you're suddenly stuck and you feel like you're sinking. Please don't have shame around that. But do know that there is always an opportunity to get out of that rut. And this is one of them. So, look, thanks for listening. And Lizzie, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your heart with us. I already know you're inspiring people, and I know some people have already reached out to you already and they've had a tremendous impact from that. So just thanks for being you. And I'm going to let you get back to your night. You and I could clearly chat like on and on. P.S. You're matching my painting. I feel like I should be wearing your top right now. And yeah, look, what can I say? Just, it's 2019 any minute, you know. It's like, let's make this actually a profound year rather than a repeat of 2018. That's what,
like, the other big shift, like you were just saying about the shame, for that 2 weeks while I waited for the course to start, I was like, why do I have to do this? So I'm a loser for having to even do this program. Yes. But now I'm proud of it. I faced it, and what I realized is I'm not the only one walking around with this. It's very common.
It's the mass of the population, Lizzie, right? But me looking at you would never have known that because you know, you are such a vibrant person. But that's sometimes we're the ones that are all vibrant and jazz hands that are hurting the most because we're just so used to pretending. And that's the thing. And when you just stop and get quiet for a minute and go, hang on a second, without the alcohol and the numbing and without the being so busy and throwing myself into my job, oh, I'm actually really miserable. Yeah. I'm actually not sleeping at night. Oh, yeah. I think it's having an impact. These recurring headaches, these earaches, withdrawing from events and things because I don't want to be the only single one there. It's like this all adds up. And it takes a hell of a lot of energy to get through life when you're feeling that you're left behind, you know? Oh.
I think the microphone is muted.
That's all right. It's just obviously, I just love how that was obviously like, I always, when things happen like that, it was like, that was a big yes. Your whole computer just nearly went off right then. It was like, because it does, it takes so much energy to actually get through the day when you're feeling like you're just existing.
Yeah. Like, I'm just going to say it again to anyone that has reached out to you. They've reached out for a reason, the same way that I reached out.
Yeah.
Like, it's not uncommon. And that's what I realized with the women. So,
and trust yourself as well. That's the other thing. It's like those of you watching this, like, don't underestimate that. Exactly like Lizzie said, when you actually resonate with the masterclass, or you resonate with my videos, or just, you know, what I talk about, it's like, trust yourself. And there'll be plenty of you that like, yep, not for me. Perfect. I am not for everyone. And I know that. Just like I won't work with everyone. It's like, I know who my soulmate clients are. There are certain traits that they have, and I will not negotiate on that. You know what I mean? I will not pull people over the hot coals, right? It's like pushing shit uphill. You have to want to change your life. That's the other thing. You actually have to want to, believe it or not, people are afraid to get what they actually want. That's what we're afraid of, is actually, heaven forbid, getting what we want. So we push it away and sabotage. And we get used to that dynamic, and then we get to be right. We go, see, it doesn't work. So this is really just about going, are you sick of that yet? Is that wearing you out? Yes. And I am going to wrap this right now, because obviously you and I could keep talking. But I love what you said, though, was why do I have to do this? Like, am I special needs? No. You have to do this because right now you found yourself in a place where you're completely out of alignment. It's really the simplest way to say it. And it's about coming home to your greatness, coming home to your alignment, because when we're in alignment with who we are, and we're in alignment with our feminine power, which is the receiving, the allowing, the trusting, the deep knowing that we deserve to have this relationship, it has to come to you. That's the law of attraction. We are literally energy. And I think that's what struck you on the call, because you're like, well, has it got law of attraction? I'm like, yeah. You go, well, I do that. I go, that's great, but it's not working for you. So that's just like a very simple way to put it, though. It's like you end up becoming this really powerful magnet, drawing things into your life, right? And you're living testament of that. Like, you just can't stop celebrating. And it's like, awesome new problem to have.
Yeah. It really is. It really is an awesome new problem to have. It's not one I had before, and yeah, and I'm happy I'll take it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, thanks again so much, Lizzie. Adore you. And listen, if you've, been struck by what Lizzie's, been chatting about with me today, then let's chat. Let's just make 2019 the best year yet. That's what it's about. These are not just words, right? You can see in Lizzie's sharing that without knowing her, she is completely in who she is, right? She knows where she's going. And how do you feel about the future, Lizzie?
I am so excited. Every day I know good things are coming. Like, every day I get that confirmation or that validation. And I often think, oh my God, like, things are so different 8 weeks, from 8 weeks ago. Imagine, like, I just imagine what it's going to be like 3 months, 6 months. Like, it's going to be phenomenal. Like,
and I
so
think, and you messaged me the other day, you're like, Lucy, I used to have trouble sleeping before, but now I can't sleep because I'm so excited about life.
Oh my God. And sometimes I just want to go to bed so I can dream, because so much comes in my dreams now. I always used to be like, I can never remember my dreams. Now just so much comes. I wake up excited to start the day, whereas before I dragged myself out of bed. The mornings were the hardest times for me. Drag myself out of bed, like, yeah, we'll start another day. No, I haven't had that for weeks. It's exciting.
Yes. All right, beautiful one. Well, as I said, love chatting with you. And you and I could do like a Lord of the Rings trilogy where we just keep doing the soul to soul trilogy. But I'm going to love you and leave you. And yeah, it's not goodbye. I'll see you in the group. So,
okay.
Love you lots, and thank you again.
See ya. Bye.